Hey there, welcome to Bishop's Garage. I'm Bishop. This is my garage. Well, my yard's my garage. This is kind of the winter 2021 update. And I kind of wanted to give you an idea of where I was on all of these car projects. So, let's talk about our bus. So with the bus, I've got some plans coming up here in the spring. We're going to go ahead and do the heating underneath. We're going to replace any of the heating pieces that are old or are asbestos based, and we'll get the heating going. That's actually the last thing we need to do to the bus. I do want to take you along with on a front seat reupholster, so that should be entertaining. You can see in the background we have our 58 Plymouth Suburban. I have a surprise for you on this one later in the video, so please hang in for that one. Let's see, what else do we have here? We have the T-Bird. This is our 64 T-Bird. We're going to be doing a repair on the electric driver's side window. We also have sitting over here my 48 Chevy pickup that I gave to my son. Well, we don't really have a lot to do with that. It's a runner driver. Put a bunch of miles on it. We might put a radio in it. Maybe we'll troubleshoot the electric conversion wipers that I did on that. We'll see. Lastly, we have the 66 Mustang here. So, you may have seen in a previous video where we replaced the fender. We still need to go ahead and put some base coat primer on that, but well, being in the Northwest, the weather has been awful. We also have a humidifier running in it now, and you can see we have it underneath this tent. So what I'm trying to do is just take the moisture out of it so we can start working on the interior. Nothing mechanically needs to be done with it. It's in really good shape. Well, that's kind of everything that we have on our docket for the next few months. I wanted to give you a preview of kind of what's coming up for this year. I don't have any big plans actually for the 55 Pontiac that's sitting over here in the garage, other than, well, we may take it out and take the interior out and actually start digging into that a little bit. But what I do want to do is I do want to turn our attention to our Belvedere. Not Belvedere, man, I keep saying Belvedere, but it is a Suburban. I'm going to want to turn my attention to the Suburban over here. And we have our block sitting with Cope Engineering up in Puyallup. And they are in the middle of boring at 90 out, giving me some new cam bearings, crank bearings. Yeah, we're going to go 90 over. We're going to up the compression a little bit. We should be able to push it to about 300 horse instead of the stock 250. Nothing terribly crazy. We won't have to change any of the dynamics underneath, any of the engineering for the wheels, engineering for the rear end. Although what I might want to do is do a brake disc conversion to it. We'll see. Now I realize I am talking a lot, and so what I want to do is show you a couple of things at least, and show you kind of the surprise I was hoping to get to sooner. But now that well, it's not raining on me today, let's go ahead and take a look at what we have in store for today's video. All right, shall we? All right, let's get to this. All right, so you may not know, or you may know, that in 1958 through 61 or so, police departments could order a police interceptor version of the 318 4-barrel solid lifter high compression engine. Produced about 250, 260 horsepower or so. Well, turns out that the block that's in our Belvedere's Suburban is one of these. And, well, since I'm getting a board 90 over with some higher compression engine, since I'm getting it board 90 over and we're doing higher compression engine, oh Jesus, same one again. Since we're getting the block board 90 over, and we'll talk about what that means later, and I'm getting higher compression pistons put in it, well, I'll be doing the putting on. We may need something to deliver a bit more fuel than the standard 4-barrel carburetor and intake that came on the machine normally. So, let's do this. There's not a lot I can tell you about this. I don't see any stampings on it for a manufacturer. I do know it came off the same sort of 318 a couple of years before 1958. Experimental aluminum one. So it's pretty light compared to the nearly 80 pounds or so of the cast iron one that came off of there. Our only interesting thing with this, and you'll see, these holes are pretty small. They're 1.5 inches. And we've got a 3 7/8 inch and a 3.5 inch, I believe, this direction. So these are a small carburetor compared to more modern ones nowadays. So the adapters are coming for that. That was relatively inexpensive. And I can put those part numbers down below and you'll be able to see what those are and where to get those if you happen to go down this adventure. Well, so this thing's been sitting in mud for about 30 years, pulled out. It's now in my hands. Let's go ahead and see if we can't clean this thing up. I'll try to see what I can do in the way of giving you some relatively good advice on how to clean up an aluminum intake manifold. I've seen a number of people on the web that do talk about it. Nobody has any, please use this, this works the best, and then scrape this way, and that works the best. So I hesitate to throw another option in the list, but I'm going to do just what I feel probably works for this. It looks like it was painted black originally. Excuse me. I've done a little bit of research on what these engines look like coming out of the factory stock. Most of the aluminum special order intake manifolds were just left aluminum. Sometimes they did paint them gold if they were matching the valve covers, so I don't know if that's something I'm going to do. We'll have to see. But let's get right down to cleaning this and less talking. So we're a little wet, but we've cleaned the intake manifold. Let's go ahead and take a close-up look to see what we're kind of dealing with, see if there's any damage. Yeah, it is a part that's 70 plus years old, so yeah, let's take a look at this. All right, so we'll start over here. These, the walls of China, as they call them, feel really smooth, at least to my touch. Intakes and exhausts don't look bad. Water jacket's got some corrosion in here. We can easily take care of that. The edges seem pretty decent. I don't see a lot that would go wrong here. Yeah, we've got a few nicks and scratches along here to be expected for such an old intake. Don't see any cracks. This all looks pretty decent. Yeah, I could probably just go over that with a cheek poker or wire wheel. That should be good. Yeah, underside looks good. Let's go and flip it over and take a look at that. All right, looks pretty clean. I think we have our heater core outlet here. We have an inlet over here, as well as the main inlet. Edges seem a little rough. We can buff that out. I wonder if this is sat somewhere as an example on some shop wall, because it's just all covered with this black paint. Now, it could have just been painted by somebody who wanted to sell it at some point. Just gave it a quick gloss over, you know, and then sold it, and then I bought it. So we do have a number here. That is the only number that's sitting on this whole thing. I don't know if that's a Plymouth number or if it's a Dodge number. It's 1735919. As you can see, there are no markings on the rest of this intake manifold that would give me any sort of clue as to where it was manufactured. It could be a stock piece. Don't really know. What I will do is I'll look that number up after this, and I'll try to bloop bloop down below and let you know whether or not that is a stock piece. What I don't see is a riser for the choke, but that's okay. I was planning on changing this over to a manual choke anyways, so I could run these duals and have a little bit more control from where I'm sitting on how it runs. We have our inlet here for our temperature gauge. Yeah. All right, so that's the overview of our new piece. Let's start figuring out how to scrub it clean. What I want to do now is I'm going to take an abrasive and clean these mating surfaces off here. I'm going to chase these threads and clean these up. And then, and then I may figure out a way to go ahead and re-spray paint this black. These are steel threads, and they're threaded into this aluminum intake, and so we got to be careful with these because the steel can certainly destroy or distort the aluminum. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this is called a die. We're going to take this 5/16, and NF24 is just the thread counts per inch, as I recall. So we're going to go ahead and try threading that onto. Oh, that's nice. And what this does is it just kind of cleans up and removes dirt and any rust bits that are sitting in your threading. There we go, after, before. Not a huge difference in cleanliness, but certainly all the rust, well, not rust, at least the corrosion and some of the dust and dirt and shale that's collected kind of on this aluminum is gone over here. And so that'll be a whole lot better for sealing once we get our little adapter plate and we figure out what we want to do for carbs. We'll need to clean this surface up too, so we can put our thermostat in here. There's no lip here. Usually there's an indentation lip here. It's probably on the other side. It might be on the neck. We'll see. That may be an issue, but nothing we can't just fix and go past. All right, we've done a lot of cleaning today. Just to kind of give you an overview of what we got here. We have our dual quad intake. These surfaces are all nice and flat and shiny now. All of the threads have been chased. I've done a PB blaster on them to just kind of make sure that they don't get any surface rust or flash rust, and they'll be good for when we get our adapter plates in. I just used Simple Green as a soaker for a few minutes, and then went to town with some SOS pads, a number of brushes. I didn't use the brass one. I did use the steel one to just clean right around these bases because there was some gunk in there that I just could not get out of there. And of course, I cleaned it all with Berryman's B12. It's a carburetor cleaner. Works super good for getting rid of oil. So that's what I used. There's a drill, and there's my cap and die set. Yeah, pretty simple. Didn't really take but maybe a half hour to do. Hopefully it didn't bore you too much with that stuff. All right, so well, with that said, I think we're going to close it down for today. Thanks for coming along. If you like what you see, click subscribe down below, hit the bell so you can be notified when I send you new info and new videos. And hopefully now that we're not under this huge storm of weather all the time, we can get back to some regular project work, and you can come along and enjoy that, as well as getting more bus work done too. All right, thanks a lot. We'll see you next time.